So good afternoon. It's actually afternoon this end. Let me welcome you to the social and religious activities for diploma semester of September through to November. It's one of the activity areas of the many activity areas that we have. We're talking about 6 activity areas that we normally teach. This one of those is the activity areas. That's why I put it as a stroke, religious stroke social activities. It should enable you to cover up the syllabus quite easily, maybe finish up on your units and forge ahead for the remaining units and exam coming ahead. You always begin with the course outline, or what are the objectives of studying these units. So we definitely go first of all to definition of terms in relation to social activities and religious areas. We define all the terms that are related to religious activity and social activity areas. Then we also go to the general objectives of ECDE in relation to the activity areas. We'll look at what are some of the objectives in terms of why should we study religious activities, what are the main areas of religious activities. Where remember that we're also looking at both the Islamic and the Christian religious activities. It's very, very important for us to know that. Those are the main two religions that we do deal with in Kenya. We definitely have other religions within the syllabus, like Hinduism or Hindu religious activities, but in the ECD system, we don't teach that. So we'll be looking at a comparative study in the religious sector, both the Muslim, Islamic, and the Christian. We'll look at how they relate. In the Christian religious activities, we look at why should we teach Christian education. What are the core objectives of this Christian education? What are some of the beliefs in the Christian education? We look at some of the values and some of the teachings, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament. We'll look at some of the key books or the key areas in the Old Testament, basically dwelling on the creation story, the pilgrimage of the children of Israel from Egypt through to Canaan. We'll also look at prophetic teachings, major prophets, minor prophets. Then we'll also go to the New Testament. We discuss something about the Gospels, the major teachings of Jesus, and how those teachings can be related to ECDE, how we teach that in ECDE, and how we can best communicate this to a PP1, PP2, grade 1, 2, 3 student, or PP for that matter, and how best they'll understand that. So we'll teach that. In the Islamic religious activities, we speak about the Islamic, the pillars of Islam. Basically that. We also speak about the prayers, their main prayers. We speak about the objectives of teaching Islamic religious education. Though you realize that in the exam scenario, they'll bring even a question on Islamic religious activity. So it's very important as a Christian, you still identify yourself, you still are able to know what some of those teachings are. We look at the relationship of social institutions and religious activities, or social activities for that matter. Then we'll also look at the development of ECDE in terms of religious activities, social activities. Then we'll again look at the management and assessment of religious activity areas. Basically, how can you best assess a student in terms of social environmental activities and religious activities. In essence, how can you assess and how can you teach? Which are the best methodologies to use as you teach environmental activities as well as religious activities? So those are some of the areas we'll be looking at in this particular unit. Basically, they're easy and they are quite straightforward. If you don't have an issue, they shouldn't be difficult. And again, I mentioned they form part of the many activity areas. Talking about social environmental activities, you're talking about creative activities, you're talking about religious activities, you're talking about psychomotor activities, science activities, language activities, um, environmental activities, etc. So they form the cluster of one exam 7013 that concerns about activity areas. So thank you.